Well, we have a little different guest with us today. I know most people turn in photography, but most of our photographers are wildlife and nature, and so the environment is very important. And our guest today is Jim Beach. Jim, welcome to the Photobug.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to talking about it, and I love photography as well.
Well, good. And where are you located right now?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, so you're not too far away from us.
No.
Our last guest 2 weeks ago was North England. So
I'm a lot closer than that.
We're a lot closer. Well, we're really interested in talking. I was really fascinated by your new book, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. And I also want to mention you've had a huge success as you also run a podcast. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. I have one for the last 13 years.
Last 13 years. Well, you're, I guess, about the same. I guess we started about 13 years ago as well. And you have a book that's coming out, and you've written a number of books, but this one is The Real Environmentalist, and you indicated this is the most important thing you've done. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I've written some fun fiction and some business books as well, but I think this is the first time I've tackled a global issue that needs addressing, of course, the environment. And I discovered that a very upbeat message that things are actually going pretty well with the environment because the great American environmental entrepreneur is out there trying to figure out solutions to all of the individual problems. And the entrepreneur is winning. I did some research and discovered 216 American for-profit businesses, not government supported in any way, that are currently solving huge global environmental issues. One of the companies is growing coral 50 times faster than God can grow it. Another one takes algae and turns it into gasoline. Another company goes out and scrapes the Pacific Ocean and takes those plastic nodule bubbles that are floating around and turns them into sneakers and tennis shoes. Amazing people out there are solving the environmental problems. And we keep hearing about the government and the academics, and they're always complaining about what's being done and what's not being done. And then they tell us that we need to use less air conditioning and conserve more. And then those same people go spend the summer on a yacht in the Mediterranean that I could never afford. They're a bunch of hypocrites. And so we have discovered also a list of hypocrites. We had ChatGPT do some work for us, and it spit out the 10 top environmental hypocrites that are claiming that they're doing a lot for the environment, but aren't actually doing anything. So we've covered a lot of bases, but we're trying to have a very upbeat, positive message that the environment is being taken care of. We still need to do all of the things that we can locally, but there are cool entrepreneurs out there solving the problems.
And you would say that these hypocrites are more talk than action. Would that be correct?
100%. Leonardo DiCaprio gives a speech at the UN, and then he gets an award for his speech, and then he gets on his private jet and flies to whatever big yacht that he has rented for the week. That super yacht has the same amount of emissions as 600,000 American homes. So just by being on those yachts, he is saying, I am more important than 600,000 Americans. I think it's incredibly hypocritical. We found quite a long list of hypocrites, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was surprised when I read through the book. And at the end of the book, now I saw a preliminary copy. When is the book actually going to be published?
September 30th.
So, just a couple more weeks.
Yes.
And I assume this is going to be available on Amazon, all the big booksellers.
Of course, all the normal places, yes.
So it's The Real Environmentalist. Is that plural or environmentalist? Singular?
It's actually plural because we found a whole bunch of them, and in the book we highlight 5.
Okay, so The Real Environmentalist. So I'm going to urge people to go out there and check it out. Fascinating read. And at the end, now in the preliminary, I assume this is going to be in the final copy, you have the criteria used to put together the 10 hypocrites, the 10 top hypocrites, we'll put it.
That's right. We put the methodology in there, showing everything we did to determine the list, and it's all from Chat GPT. So if you don't like the list, you can argue with Chat GPT and not me, because Chat GPT came up with the criteria. But it was a multiple step process. You just can't go in and say, give me the biggest hypocrites. It needs to be primed a little bit more. So we started off by asking to create a list of the celebrities talking the most, who talks so much about what they're doing. And then we made a separate list of action, celebrities that are actually doing something. And we gave it a definition. To be doing something, you have to get your hands dirty by planting a tree or cleaning a penguin. You have to do something. You can't just give a speech and call that action.
Right.
And so ChatGPT then spit out another list. We took the two lists and cross-tabulated them, and it came out with a score that each person, each celebrity had. And from that, we determined the top 10. So I wanted to, since I'm making a fairly bold accusation and basically attacking these people, I wanted to be able to show how we got the data. It's not my personal opinion. It's not based on what I see. It's based on ChatGPT's work. So again, argue with ChatGPT, Leonardo, not me.
Yeah. All right. I would call these people, these entrepreneurs, unsung heroes. Would that be fair?
I think they are. They are putting their lives at risk, quite literally, putting their capital quite literally at tremendous risk. We have one of the heroes in the book is named Wayne Elliott. And for the last 60 years, he has been recycling ships. He would buy aircraft carrier, 900-foot aircraft carrier, or an oil tanker, bring it into his shipyard and reduce it back to 100% reusable products, usable steel, usable nickel, iron, all of the things that come out of the recycling. And he discovered that one of his biggest problems was the batteries. Mm-hmm. So he spent $20 million of his own money researching how to process and recycle alkaline batteries. And that's incredibly dangerous. If one drop of the alkaline gets on the floor, it will burn a 2-foot deep hole in the floor. And so that's the type thing that they were dealing with. And eventually they did solve and figure out how to recycle these alkaline batteries. And in Canada, there is a drop box in all of the big supermarkets and the Home Depots and things for people to go and drop their recyclable batteries in these drop boxes. And they're getting up to 97% recycling. And here in America, we're right at 1% battery recycling. But in Canada, they have figured out how to successfully do it. He just sold that business to BlackRock, so you really don't get any more prestigious than that. They have, I think, like $4 trillion under management or something, maybe 30, I don't know, the biggest money manager in the world. And I think that gives a real indication of how cool this technology is. And so these men are really heroes. They're going out and doing what other people said can't be done, and they're facing political backlash and backlash from the academics. They are putting up with quite a bit of battles to help us clean the earth.
So you would say that's why they're pretty much unsung heroes? Is because of the...
Yes, well, we don't talk about them when we talk about the environment. Who do we talk about? Mm-hmm. Leonardo DiCaprio and Al Gore, and the other people who've made these claims, Greta Thunberg, whatever. They make all these claims that, look how cool I am. I'm solving the planet. I'm sailing across the Pacific or the Atlantic so that I don't use any, gasoline or fuels. Well, it turned out that they had 4 support boats that were following right behind her. And that took a lot of fuel, so it was very hypocritical. And I think these people deserve to be called out, and the heroes deserve some accolades because they're not in People magazine. Mm-hmm. They don't do cool articles about the guy growing coral 50 times faster than God does. You didn't know he existed until we went out and found him. And so it's very sad to me that the media focuses on the celebrities, the Kardashians, and not on Wayne Elliott. Wayne Elliott deserves the praise.
And it's funny, I was just about to ask you to talk about Wayne. So
yes.
you must be reading my mind. And I was I will say a commercial diver for almost 3 years for the county building artificial fishing reefs. So I was also fascinated by the coral and what they're doing with these fast-growing corals. And I've been on a number of these reefs and seeing how bleached they are, and which has been going on for decades now. But you have a podcast too. I know you kind of stepped away from that to write this book. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Well, I haven't stepped away. It's still 5 days a week on 100 stations around the country and some internet platforms. So we're on 100 real stations. Listen in your car in big cities all across the United States, usually at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we talk about small business issues, the things that are interesting to small businesses. So we talk about marketing and sales and finance and HR issues and how to fire people and how to raise money and how to make this business model work. And I have a slightly different thesis from most other entrepreneurs. I'm not a big fan of creativity. I think that if you want to start a business, you should go copy an existing business and just do it and start from there. The first business I started when I was 23 was a blatant copy of another business. Of course, I'm not going to violate any copyrights, trademarks, or patents, but I am going to copy your model and do it better than you. And also, I'm not a big fan of risk. I don't think entrepreneurs are really risk takers. I think they are risk reducers and start a business in such a way that there's very little risk. My first business started for under $1,000, and I already had paying customers having only spent $1,000. And so how risky is that? Not very. And I'm also not a big fan of passion. I think passion reserved for the church, the synagogue, the mosque, and your family, and that I love what I do, but I am passionate for things much more. I'd much rather take a dive with you, Jim, than be working with you today. You know, I'm certainly, there are things that I enjoy more than worrying about the environment and worrying about my next guest on the radio show. And so I think that's what passion means. If you can do something and like it more than working for the man, then you've won. And if you love your business, if you're truly passionate about your business, then that's just icing on the cake. I am passionate about the real environmentalist, I must admit. I wasn't at the beginning, but passion can grow over time, just like in a relationship with a person. The first business I started, I didn't love until I started getting letters from my happy clients. And so, you know, I'm just a bit of a contrarian, and the show talks about ways to reduce startup capital. How did you bootstrap this business? Teach us that. And so there's my focus for the Entrepreneur Radio Show. I hope people will listen in. You can catch the show at schoolforstartupsradio.com. We have about 2,700 episodes up.
Good. Well, I'm going to put the link down here, and also your website at jimbeach.com.
Very simple, yes.
Good. We're going to put that down here too. Urge people to go out there. And if one of our listeners out there by chance is interested, what can they do about the environment? How would you recommend somebody get started if we got a potential entrepreneur?
Well, you know, there are a list of suggestions at the back of the book for both corporations and individuals. And for us individuals, the main thing is to be aware, to pay attention, and to call out people that we see are hypocrites. You know, for example, there has been nutrition information on all of our food for 20 or 30 years, but you can't find the environmental information on anything, how much environmental impact this car will have, or this airline flight, or the environmental impact of a steak you're going to buy. And so one of the things we want to promote is including environmental information on all of the things that we purchase. And that would be a great way of educating people. Look how much of the environment you're harming by taking this 747 flight to Hawaii. You know, we don't want to discourage that, but we want you to be informed and to know what you are personally doing to the environment, and encourage you to minimize your footprint and help others minimize theirs.
Where would you put yourself on the list, just out of curiosity? Because I'm not sure where I put myself on it.
Well, one thing I learned from the book is I'm going to be smart enough not to brag about stuff that's not true, right? So I'm not going to claim to be a great environmentalist. I do have a swimming pool in my backyard, and those are bad for the environment.
Me too.
But I also drive an old beat-up car. If you're concerned about the footprint of your cars, use the car as long as you can, regardless of what fuel economy it gets. You will produce more emissions when the car is created than the car will use during its entire lifetime. So I drive a small Toyota Tercel that's over 12 years old. It has about 130,000 miles on it. And I'll drive that car until it dies. And that's what I can do maybe to offset my swimming pool.
Oh, good. So kind of a carbon offset.
That's right.
And I was also fascinated in the book about lithium, which I know. Whoops. Did we lose you there?
No, I'm still right here.
Oh, okay. For some reason, my screen just went down. Okay. So before we wrap it up, I want to talk a little bit about the lithium and the issues with lithium that you mentioned in the book.
Right. Well, that's sort of about the battery recycling. Most of the batteries are alkaline, and now we've moved into the lithium. Lithium, there is no way to recycle yet, but Wayne is working on that now, I promise, and hopefully he'll invent that as well. The problem is, as you said, it's just so dangerous. It can blow up a building, and so they have to take extreme efforts when they're working on it. But Wayne is working on that right now, yes.
Oh, good. And I saw something, it was 60 Minutes, this probably got 2, maybe 3 years ago, where someone had taken lithium and they somehow solidified it in a substrate. And what was interesting is he could punch it with a screwdriver, he could cut it. The battery still operated, it put out the same amount of voltage, but there was no danger of it flaming. And I haven't heard anything more about that. I would thought, well, this could be the savior of lithium batteries, but I was curious if you heard anything about this or know anything.
No, I haven't heard that, and I've been through the media on batteries quite a lot recently, spending a lot of time researching it, and I have not seen an article about that. But I will double check and see if I can find anything. You said it was on 60 Minutes?
I believe it was 60 Minutes, yes. And
I'll look
again,
on
it was
their
a
archive.
couple of years back, and I wish I could give you more information, but I since have heard nothing more about it, and I thought that this was really sounded like a real possible solution to at least the lithium problem with explosive lithium and the fires that it can create.
Right. I have seen considerable evidence of breakthrough technologies that are purchased for the sole reason of closing them down and putting them in a closet.
Right.
And those stories do happen, and I've seen a lot of research or a lot of evidence to support that. You know, there is an American U.S. law that if something is of material or military value to the country, they're allowed to steal your patent and just take it. And that happens about 1,700 times a year, 1,700 times a year. The government seizes a patent from an entrepreneur here in the United States. And so he very well could have had success patented, and some government agency bought it to shut it down or something.
That would be a
Unfortunately,
shame.
those sort of conspiracy rumors are true.
Yeah. Maybe that's what happened. I hope not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, again, we want to urge people to go out and check your podcast and check your website. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you can give to our listeners?
Well, go start a business that helps the environment. You will find that there's huge rewards, and now is the perfect timing for that. This is the time to do it. So if you have any way to make the environment better, go start a business or call me, I'll help you.
Can we put out there, become an environmentalist unsung hero?
There you go, right. Go buy the real book, or the Real Environmentalist book at Amazon.
Sounds good. Well, September 30th, please go out and check out The Real Environmentalist. It is a fascinating read. And Jim, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on our humble little podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'd love to come down there and visit Pinellas County.
Hey, you are in the area, you let me know.
Yeah. We'll take you
It's
to all
Tampa,
the good spots.
right?
Bring your camper.
Actually,
yeah, we're on the coast.
We're on the coast Close to Tampa.
We're in a
but-
little town called Palm Harbor,
Okay,
which is north of Clearwater. So if you know where Clearwater is,
I do. Yes.
Actually, between Clearwater and Tarpon Springs.
yep, we're just south of
Okay.
Tarpon.
Well, it
So-
looks beautiful.
Well,
I will
good.
be there soon.
Well, again, go out there. We want more unsung heroes. We need fewer talkers, braggers, and more doers.
That is true. Yes.
And Jim, thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our video, and if you did, please go down there and hit the like button, and please subscribe to us.
That's right. Leave a comment too. That would be great.
Yeah, and if you want to be notified about future videos, hit the little bell too.
Ding.